Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town, far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound, a big sound in a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Well, all right. Well, here's a brand new one. Written by Charles Humphrey, Marty Dodson, and myself. And we have not recorded this one yet. It's called Where the Road Goes. Hold on. I go where the road goes, follow where the wind blows. Well, I thank the stars each day I get to wake up and say I go where the road goes. Well, I've always been the kind of man, never had a plan, figured I'd know where I was going when I get there. I'm still chasing that white line, these crazy dreams of mine. That's where I'm from, I say everywhere. I go where the road goes, follow where the wind blows. I thank the stars each day I get to wake up and say I go where the road goes. Maybe someday I'll settle down and find a perfect town, or the girl that makes me want to leave this highway. Until then I'm satisfied, sit back and enjoy the ride, watch the windshield bring new places my way. I go where the road goes, follow where the wind blows. I thank the Lord each day I get to wake up and say I go where the road goes. I go where the road goes, follow where the wind blows. I thank the stars each day I get to wake up and say I go where the road goes. I thank the Lord each day I get to wake up and say I go where the road goes. All right.
That song is about true.
That's about right.
I mean, that's pretty much what you do these days. Why don't you just tell people who you are and how you do that with, who you do this with, you know?
All right. Well, hey, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, man.
My name is Mark Schimick, and I appreciate Sandy Carlton for having me in here at the Earl Scruggs Center.
Yep.
Down here in Shelby, North Carolina.
Yep. Where are we at?
And that's right near Cherryville.
Cherryville, yeah.
And, well, I play in a bluegrass band of sorts, bluegrass-ish, and we're called Songs from the Road Band, and that's with Charles Humphrey, formerly of Steve Kennedy Rangers, and James Schlender, Gabe Epstein on the banjo, and great Sam Wharton singing lead with me, and we just have a really good time, you know.
Yeah.
And for years I played also with a man named Larry Keel, and
he's being modest in about 1,000 other people. You know, you can Google it. You can go on YouTube, and if there's a person with an acoustic guitar, there's a chance that Mark is somewhere in there. You can probably find him. Just Google any bluegrass or close to bluegrass acoustic person, and I'm sure you'll come across a video of Mark playing with them.
I also done a number of shows with Mr. Jim Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
My old teacher, Mr. Billy Constable, was a great student of Don Reno, and his mama married Charlie Moore. So, like, from the get-go, I was lucky enough to have a background in first-generation bluegrass and even old-time music.
Yeah.
The Fiddlers Conventions.
Yeah.
When those people were still alive. And also, simultaneously, at the same time, was like my old boss man, Larry Keel, and people like that making stuff up off of, like, that nobody had ever done before.
Right,
So,
yeah.
so like Acoustic Syndicate Boys, and,
Yeah.
you know, I'd go watch them a million times. And, you know, that's just, so somewhere in there, I kind of got my own little style going.
Yep, I think you.
Also, I got a rock and roll band called Mud Tea.
Yep.
And I played drum kit in that, but we also will, in the second set at times, bust out acoustics, and I'll play mandolin in that band too. So, you know, and that's with a fellow I grew up with in Charlotte named Toby Weaver. And, he spent years in the band The Cordovas.
Yeah, Cordovas. Yeah.
So it's like, and that's and I brought me a Gibson mandolin and a Martin guitar, and
They're fine. Both of them are really fine instruments too. I'm sure you'll be able to hear it through these recordings, but they sound even better live sitting here across from them.
I'm really psyched of it. I'll have to save a copy of this here.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you a copy of this.
All right. All right. Well, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man.
You said you played last night.
I did. I got a little side project called the Handsome Johnnies, and that was a lot of fun. I don't like to say we're a tribute band. We did a tribute to John last night. And, you know, he has the type of songs the crowd can sing along to. The crowd was right rowdy and loud and sang almost every
dang word.
Almost every word. And I could forget the words, and someone would sing it and correct me on the song. You know, it's like,
I've had that happen on my own song.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't think people realize that you can do songs for years and still forget the words. I mean, you know,
Lord.
and people see you, and you kind of get good at skipping around it as the years go by. You know, you can kind of cover the mistakes a bit, but you know it, and you know, and every once in a while, everybody knows it when I make a mistake, but you know, it's just it. Well, man, you guys are gone all the time, and you guys are traveling a lot.
Yes. Well, and well, here we are on the, was it the 22nd today?
Yeah, 22nd.
Okay, so we are one day deep into wintertime, and
Yep.
it's going to be real winter here by the end of the day.
Yeah, it is.
Boy, I had to be prepared for this. Tomorrow, interestingly enough, though, I am playing in Kernersville at the Brewer's Kettle with my good buddies, the Eversoles, Ryan and Andy Eversole, and Mason Vi, who is currently with Old Crow Medicine Show.
Yes, he is.
And PJ George, who plays bass a lot with Miss Sierra Farrell.
Yeah.
So that's going to be and I knew PJ a little bit, you know, from going to the Fiddlers Convention.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be a lot of fun. I told Mason I would sing "Let's Make a Baby King." It's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a Christmas show. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, oh man, I didn't even think about that song. Well, we've just done a Christmas show too, and I was like, God, that would have been a good one to do.
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
Think about that. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be fun. But also, Songs from the Road Band, we're gonna play on the 29th up in the Charlottesville, Virginia area on this farm, and it's going to be put on by my good buddies Jason Moon and his wife Kristen, and we're going to have a show up there with the John Stickley Trio.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be a really good time, and then I come back and I play New Year's Eve first at the Hampton store with my good buddy Kenny Job, Billy Constable's cousin, one of the they're all part of the Wiseman family.
Right.
That's Scotty and Lulu Wiseman.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna play a nighttime show with Banjo Earth with Andy Ebersole. So up also coming this year. We're gonna play Merle Fest, man, with some road bands. So
That's big. I mean, that's really big.
Right.
You want to talk about your first time going to Merle Fest? You want to talk about
the very first time? Oh man! So I was a college kid in Boone, and that's where I decided I went there to learn how to pick.
Sure.
And so, being that I didn't grow up in the mountains, I'd only, in my mind, thought about what maybe a fiddler's convention was about. So when I went to my first Merle Fest in 1995, I snuck in, and I didn't have the money. I got in there. The next year I go, 1996, I get stopped, and they're like, well, I'm sorry, you have to pay. It was like $80 or $100 or something like that. I was like, I'm looking in my pocket. I got like, I think I had 40 or 50 tops. And then, and this is way before I had a debit card or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have the money, so I go home. And later on that summer, I go to Galax.
Galax, man.
And I got in for $5.
Yeah.
I met the people that I still at times get to hang out with on a yearly basis.
Sure.
And that I love dearly, and that $5 kept me in there that whole week.
Sure. I mean,
I never left.
It's a life-changing, really. Galax is a life-changing event for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I got into all these jams with first generation sounding people like Ted Sage, and then old time players like Bill and Nancy Slies, and then like Danny Nicely, who was Larry Keel's mandolin player at the time, and Rex McGee playing banjo.
Oh, yeah.
I walked up on Rex, and he was playing a Bach piece. but later on, then we're playing a bluegrass standard, but he had it tuned all funny. He
That's the common thing with that part of the Virginia, North Carolina thing. They tune funny, the fiddlers,
they got the cross tune.
Sure, they got the cross. Yeah.
But he had kind of cross-tuned this guitar, and I mean, excuse me, a banjo, but he does the same thing on guitar, and it's really funny, man. But yeah, to this day, I mean, those are the people.
Yeah, Galaxes
hold near and dear to me. So it's like that's my Merle Festival. No, but the funny thing is, I played there in 2002 with Keel.
Yeah.
And when we did that, I was so excited as just being like this guy that lived in Boone to be able to even have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So I went to Doc's house unannounced.
Oh.
It was about 8:15 at night. This is 2002, the year we played, and I was like, I really appreciate getting to play your son's festival. And he talked to me for about 5 minutes until like he kind of ran me off. But he made a promise to me that Rosalie and Richard would watch the set.
Oh.
He's like, I'm not sure where I'm going to be, but I'll make sure that.
Oh, that's good.
Rosalie and
they did?
Sure enough, as soon as we get done, Rosalie's like, you did a real good job. And it was real sweet. I'll never forget that.
I lived in Boone, and a guy who lived kind of beside me, underneath me, wound up being Doc's bass player for a number of years.
T. Michael Coleman.
Yeah, T. Michael Coleman.
So,
who
was this on King Street?
Yeah, and this was at that time. At that time, he really was. He was trying to
have the vacuum shop at that time.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, you've been there.
A million. That's where I bought my first F5 mandolin.
Yeah, and you know, it was he took me to Doc's one time, and everybody was tuning up, and of course it was before tuners, of course, and we're getting ready to play, and Doc goes, somebody's just like a half a cent off, and I'm thinking it's me because this is my first time here, and I'm sure it's me.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, so I'm afraid to touch my tuners, you know, because he'll know it's me. So I just stay. When he goes, it don't matter, it's bluegrass, you know. So, you know, but I was for sure, and I'm sure to this very day that I was the one that was just out of tune, you know. So, but he was nice about it. But
yeah, it seemed like Doc was an encouraging guy and a way, very salt to the earth. I mean, the people, it's just hard to find.
Yeah.
Like that anyways.
And Boone is a special place. You can just go
Doc's
down
a very special person.
Doc is a very special person. You can go down the list of people who lived in Boone that play music that people know, you know, top to bottom. Yeah. I mean, Boone's a good place if you're a musician.
Well, and the first bluegrass jam I got in, actually, before I went to Galax, was at Jim's Underground Music over there, in downtown Boone. But I somehow caught wind of a smaller fiddlers convention going on at Jim and Jenny Vance's in Crossnore, North Carolina. Yeah. And it was this little barn, and it was a dry county at the time. Avery County was dry at the time, so you'd literally go in there and they'd have chili dogs with slaw and Pepsi, and occasionally some of the old timers would go have their quote unquote prayer meeting. Yeah, and they're out there with their jarred liquor. Yeah, and but man, I'd go there and these same people at the time that were in their early 70s or late 70s, were the same people that a year later we had met Billy Constable, and he was cut from the same cloth, the same exact people. Oh yeah. So we're talking about people like Herb Green, Bruce Moody, related to Clyde Moody. You know, Herman Coffey, David Penley, Alan Johnson, who was, Bruce Johnson, who was, Alan Johnson's a fiddle player.
I know.
That played with Dole Lawson and whatnot, but was his daddy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Daddy,
that's really cool.
And man, so these are the people I first heard, like, you know, covering Bill Monroe songs and like old country ones like, you know, Maiden's Prayer and whatnot, and like, you know, Orange Blossom Special and et cetera, et cetera. So like, you know, and it was really cool just to like catch them. And so when we actually met Billy a year later, just by hapstance, I guess just from geography, you know, we had the same rhythm pocket.
Right, yeah.
And immediately we were kind of a band. I was like, all right, this will work. And, you know, I'm just learning, so I messed up the words left and right, and I'm trying to learn the parts and, you know, and the singing and et cetera, et cetera. And, but simultaneously, as I said, these people I met at Galax were either playing old time or something like completely newgrass.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then going to concerts in Boone, I caught up with my future band leader Larry Keel and of course the boys from here, Music Syndicate. Yeah. They'd play there all the time. Yeah. And you know, they all had their own voices, and that's something I learned from going to Galax was eventually you could quote ahead and you can cut it a few different ways, if not more, you know, 100 different ways. Right. But it still comes down to you having your own voice doing it. Yep. So you're hearing someone like Steve McMurray sing, and you know, and I always felt like he could take on a character of a song very well.
He can.
You know, and of course, what can you say about Larry Keel's guitar picking? You know, or songwriting.
And he was one of the most unique singers. I mean, I don't know how, you know, I mean, you know, that is.
And so I'd be watching them play, and then, you know, do a couple shows opening for either one of them, or et cetera, you know. And then I was down on Ocracoke in 1999, and then again in the year 2000, down in the Outer Banks.
Right.
And at one point, this would have been June or May of 2000. Jenny's like, Larry, he knows all your songs. And like, come August, they had hired Billy Constable
Right.
to be in their band, and he brought me along, and then they just hired me. And it didn't take that long, you know. I mean, as I said, I already knew his, songs, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was actually really cool, you know, because it didn't take long before joining him. There was just some things I never would have done otherwise.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the time, Larry. When you joined, Larry, that was probably. I mean, Larry. That was at the height of things going for Larry too. I mean.
Right. Well, and it was pre 9/11.
Yeah.
It was obviously pre-pandemic, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just tours that would last like a month and a half, 2 months long.
Oh yeah.
Like heading all the way across the country and back and stuff like that. I'd say the first show I was officially a member of, I didn't get to play.
What?
But it was a Zambiland orchestra in Atlanta, and Sam Bush was there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So and it was Constable, Larry, Jenny, Michael Kang from String Cheese Incident, and Warren Haynes was there helping put this thing on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so this is what tour life is about. I was like, all right, well, it's a small world out there. I'll tell y'all what. But yeah, of course, years later, I realized that was a very special show.
Yeah. So, I mean, so do you remember the first show you did with Larry? The very first one that you played?
One?
Yeah.
It was a private party in Greensboro.
Really?
And a Flail family event, and we were over there on a little man-made lake and just hanging out on dockside, and I just played in somebody's yard. It was freaking great.
Yeah.
It was an easy way to get into it.
And then, but then you went to just about everywhere an acoustic player can go, didn't you?
Well, man, yeah, I suppose, and you know, the thing about it is, like, it's every day I wake up, I realize it's another day to give it a shot. I mean, here I am, 20 some odd years later.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the most part, I'm still just pretty much an independent artist.
Right.
You know, and as long as I keep showing up, and it doesn't matter if I'm playing smaller gigs and I'm playing in front of 5 people.
Right.
Or if I'm playing.
That's music.
Or if I'm, if I'm lucky enough to be in something that's happening real loud. It's like when I play Merlefest, I mean, there'll be
sure
like 200,000 people there.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
yeah.
it really doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't.
Just show up, and I wake up another day and I've made it there. So it's like, you know.
I remember I had seen Larry with Larry's band. Larry, I'd seen him at Green Acres, of course, with his band before it was he and Jenny, you know.
Yeah, with McGraw Gap.
Yeah, McGraw Gap. And then I'm in Telluride, and I'm looking, and there they are, basically busking on the street. You know, I mean, I guess they had won some kind of contest.
They won the contest.
Which allowed
the band and in the instruments.
Right, and but what they got out of it for the most part was the busk on the street. You know, but it was really cool. You know, it was really cool.
So I guess when Larry was younger, he had a band with Leftover Salmon's banjo player. With Mark Van.
Yeah,
Mark Van,
yeah.
You know, before he went to Colorado, was hanging out with Larry Keel when they were basically teenagers. And John Flower from McGraw Gap was still the bass player.
Yeah.
And they had a band little thing called Farmers Trust. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they we used to do a tune that Mark Van had come up with back then.
Right.
And Larry had recorded it called the Mark Van song.
Ah.
And you know, but Yeah, so when they won Telluride, you know, they were
Yeah.
you said busking, but also like getting a couple of times
yeah.
to like play with left.
Yeah, they did.
You know?
Yeah, they
Right,
did,
you
and
know?
which was really cool. Oh, you know, one of the parts I thought because I did see him play. I did see him on set.
Leftover Sam.
Yeah.
Our old bandmates. So,
Right,
you know.
right. So yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a small world.
Exactly.
And what is really weird too is now how many people have relocated and live in the Brevard, Asheville, that area. You know, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That's expensive up there. I'm still there right now. I'm in the town of Barnardsville, and I'm actually technically the last house. I'm actually not in Barnardsville. I'm like 1 mountain over from Mount Mitchell in the same county as Asheville. It takes me about 25 minutes to get downtown. And
Yeah.
I love it out there. Man.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's.
love it out there.
Yeah.
But man, it's expensive.
Oh God, man! It is. I mean,
And yeah, that town isn't set up for as many people.
no. It's outgrown itself.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That's right.
I
I come down here and I actually found a parking spot
Oh, yeah?
out of the Earl Scruggs Center.
Yeah. Yeah, some days you can. This town's growing. It's a pretty fun town. It's still a good music town.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know, a lot of good musicians here.
Is Crystal still having people over at the Pleasant City?
Nope, she's not.
Okay. And then they're not having so many bands at Newgrass either.
Nope, they took the stage down. Needed more brewery room. So we've lost some venues, but we're working towards getting some more back. So
Okay. Well,
So
I'm all ears.
yeah, you know, we've had a couple more open up, and then due to misfortunes and stuff, have moved on. You know, so I think COVID hurt a lot. You know, people would open up, get going, and couldn't stay.
Absolutely.
And then some places here have just decided not to mess with music anymore. Why? I don't know. I mean, okay, bands can be a bit troublesome sometimes.
I've had some magic times playing here. That's for
I have to. I mean, yeah.
Man,
I've seen you play
that
here.
time we played at Newgrass, and I don't know. I'm playing there with Josh Daniel.
Yeah.
Out of Charlotte, you know, and you know, Josh has done.
I saw that. I saw that show actually. Yeah.
But then the funny thing is, we're sitting there playing there, and out of nowhere, somebody gets in touch with John Cowan, and he comes down and sits in with us. We're at Newgrass Brewery, and the rock and roll voice of Newgrass Revival shows up, and you know,
Yeah.
and he plays with us. It was
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
You know, so we have other bluegrassers here too that seem to wind up with John now and then, Darren and Brooke.
Darren and Brooke,
yeah. So I mean, they seem to wind up with him too.
Well, good.
And you know, Darren keeps a pretty good band.
Yeah, and Darren's a great picker, and I'm always happy to see him and Brooke when I do. And hey y'all, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean they're you know, they've done the show. They're you got another song?
Sure, well, there's a number of them I could do, but I'm playing a solo one on guitar. Can I do a cover?
Yeah, you can do a cover.
I have no idea what the publishing is on this, but
We'll probably find out.
the Joni Mitchell cover. This is I found this on a YouTube search during the pandemic, and it's one of her very first songs when she was still Joni Anderson. So it's like, this one is called "I Was Born to Take the Highway," and it just reminds me of the country gentleman and the seldom seen a little bit. So it's like. See the stretching sun at dawn and wipe the stardust from his eyes. Feel the morning breeze yawning, telling me it's time to rise. Telling me it's time to rise. I was born to take the highway. I was born to chase a dream. Any road and all is byway. Any places where I've been. Anything is I've seen. Well, gambler's gold is made for squandering, miser's silver is the hoard. My gold as sky is wandering, silver is a drinking gourd. All the silver drinking gourd. I was born, take the highway. I was born, chase a dream. Any road at all is my way. Any place is where I've been. Anything is what I've seen. There is a road that winds forever from the land of rainbows run. You cross the bridge from now to never. Take the first turn past the sun. Take the first turn beyond the sun. I was born, take the highway. I was born, chase a dream. Any road at all is my way. Any place is where I've been. Anything is what I see. Anything is what I've seen.
You kill that. I don't think that's exactly how Joni heard it, though, is it?
No, well, no. I mean, I kind of did she did this chord,
Yeah.
and like almost like a Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah.
chord, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool chord. You know, I was thinking that is a Joni type chord, though. you know?
Right. Because she played in an open tune.
Yeah.
Right, and off times.
Yeah.
And well, I'm sitting here in standard. And
But it does. I mean, it just captured the essence of the song while adapting it totally to what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know?
I turned it more into bluegrass.
Yeah, it was, and it was good.
I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I know that you'll turn a song into a bluegrass song because I
like
was
the fact that it's something funny. Go ahead.
Oh well, I was going to go with Suspicious Minds. I mean, you did a Suspicious Minds out here in the Great Hall. It kind of caught us by surprise. I was not when you're going along doing regular stuff, and then you came out with Suspicious Minds, and it was like, what? It's good though. It's good.
I took that from my old bandmate Jason Flanoy when he and the guitar player in Songs from the Road Band grew up together. Sam Morton and him.
Yeah.
I met Jason when he was 18. He lived in Boone, was hanging out with me and Billy Constable and my buddies Perry McGregor that were in Sassafras with us. And he was just learning. So he took our Sassafras music down to Alabama, and Sam heard it. And they moved to Telluride. And while they're out there, Sam moves back to Asheville eventually. Jason stays there, and he's in a band called Shawnee Groove.
So he's still there.
And then, of course, Jason played with us later with Larry Keel. And what happens was we were riding around in the van one day, and we were joking about trying to figure out what to do on a New Year's show. And he was like, "Oh man, let's do Elvis' the Suspicious Minds," and he was joking around with trying to sing it, and Larry was like, and we never did it, and so when we got Songs to Road Band going, I was like, man, let's do that one, and like.
Well, it looks to me like with you guys in Songs from the Road Band that okay, we played with all these people, all of you. Now we're going to do what we want to do, and
Well, yeah. I mean, and with each band that you're in, you're just going to have there's going to be certain strengths. I look at Songs from the Road Band, and our strengths are like the fact that Charles has written a bunch.
Yeah, he has.
And I'm starting to write a few with
Yeah,
him.
I see that you are.
Yeah, and But the main thing is, I think also the other strength in that band is Sam and I have been singing together for a very, very
Y'all
long
have,
time.
haven't you? Yeah.
And I feel very blessed to have that. And James on the fiddle is a savant anyways, and
really
and a wizard, and very casual about it too.
He
I love it.
he is, and he is one of.
But he learned how to sing all those parts like very quickly.
Really?
It's like and our banjo player Gabe is starting to learn how to get his voice out there too.
Really?
He sings great too.
Well, that was one of the things too. Gabe had just actually, when you guys came up here, just hadn't been playing with you guys very long.
No, like a couple shows.
Yeah, and he was just. I knew when y'all came. I thought that's the banjo player that you need. I think
and we're having a really good time right now. We just had a Christmas party as a band last night, and then and we all showed up.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
I mean, I thought he was a good. I thought that was a good addition. That really was. And it was kind of a weird story. Didn't Sam just kind of find him somewhere?
Well, that was the thing. I mean, they were living together, and he's like listening in. He's walking out the door. He's like, "Dang, that guy's pretty good at that." So, and eventually it just came. And same thing with finding James.
Yeah, how'd y'all find James? Anyway?
That was Charles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean they were just hanging out together late night in Asheville style, and somehow Charles convinced him to start playing with us, and thank God for that.
I mean, I'm telling you, he is. Asheville's full of good fiddlers. I mean, Lindsey, Johns.
Lindsey Pruitt.
Yeah.
And the various students of Arville Freeman.
Sure. Yeah.
Bobby Hicks.
Yeah. A lot of good players, but I'm telling you, James is special. I mean, I spent my life around fiddlers and violinists, and James is special.
He's very special.
He is. We start breaking down stuff. He's moving towards that Vassar range.
Nobody plays like him.
No, I know he's great, man. He's he's pretty much got it going on.
And the best thing about playing with him is it reminds me when I was playing with Keel. It's like I stay on my toes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I have no idea what the heck's going to come out of his fiddle.
Plus, he's playing a 5-string fiddle too, is he not?
Yes,
he plays 5-string. Him and Lindsey and I saw Casey Dreesen. That's that whole crowd.
Yeah, that was, and of course Casey. Yeah, we're very fortunate in the Asheville area to have him around.
Yeah.
And we were thankful to have had him play a show with us over when we did our little Wintergrass thing in West Asheville just here recently. And
Casey, when I was at the Earl Scruggs Festival, Casey was just in the crowd. He wound up playing with Leftover, but he was just walking around. So I ran into him. I said, "You want to do the podcast?" He said, "Yeah." But I thought he was just going to shuck me off and not come. But he turned up.
Cool.
And he did a version of Billy in the Low Ground that incorporated everything that he does. I mean, it even had the chop breakdown in the middle. Yeah, it's like I'm having a heart attack, and there's a girl over there in the room listening, and she knows she's there to cover the event for a paper, and it's in a media room, and she had talked to me, and she basically knew nothing about music, and they were all talking. They were talking about where they went to church. Casey hits the last note, and she goes, "God damn it!" So you can even might pick it up on it. And I thought that's how good that was.
The wind out of the fiddle would just knock your head.
Yeah. So it was just it was really, really good, and
the way he was incredible, and God, he's played with so many people too, and that's a wonderful thing about this music scene that we're a part of.
It is,
and it's kind of a small world. Said every day I get to get up and do this all over again.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes me far, sometimes it keeps me closer, but more often than not, I'm still traveling a lot.
You do travel a lot. You do put a lot of miles on. Tell them what this. Tell the mandolin people. I have a lot of musicians listen to the podcast. So tell them about the mandolin you have in your hand.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, this one is a 1999 Gibson F5G, and boy, she's a beauty.
She is a beauty.
Right when this is when Charles Darrington was in charge. Now, as history knows, Charles Darrington was the guy that re-put together Bill Monroe's mandolin after it was smashed to pieces, and so this model, the F5G, was originally a Steve Carlson model, the Flatiron guy who happens to be a close family friend to our fiddle player James Slade.
Oh, okay.
And I've had the very good fortune to have met and become friends with Steve Carlson, and I love his mandolins with all my heart. And this is one of the models that he had come up with, and this is Charles Darrington's take on it, who was more of a Lloyd Loar guy. So there's some slight differences to both the Lloyd Loar and to this one and to Steve's. But this is the model he came up with, and it's basically without the binding on the back, without the binding on the front, without the binding on the neck or the back, and just a way to get the sound of a real Gibson F5, without having to spend as much money.
Yeah.
I had one from 2002 when it was brand new until a year after my son was born. And as you know, and a lot of people do, I went through more mandolins and, Caesar's wife goes through money.
Sure, yeah, I understand.
And
yeah.
And
that's
just what happened.
You do what you have to do.
I had to do what I had to do, but also it got to the point where it was kind of fun to look.
Oh yeah.
So what I do is now I have this back in my hands. I've recorded incidentally about 50% of what I've recorded ever with this mandolin. This style mandolin. So I'm sticking with this one, and I have a backup that I could swing.
Right.
And in case anyone's wondering, right now it's a Kentucky KM900 from 2010 that sounds absolutely amazing, and that one is cut just like the A style Lord that was that Ty Taylor owned,
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's what I do. I try to keep an instrument in swing, but this one's sticking around, and with the exception, I've left the original tuners on here, but I got a James tailpiece, and thank God for that, because we're having a hard time finding these right now.
Yeah, they're hard to find
right now, and there's a bone nut on here instead of a micarta one.
Right.
And it's got before I bought this, the guy gave it a good fret job, and
and it's loud. It is really loud.
It's a bluegrass man.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a loud mandolin. But I mean, that is essential, though. I mean, you play with banjo players.
Some people want to hear this. Some people want to hear.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
it depends. So I always do a little bit of both. And so that's this one handles both of them just fine.
I'm actually glad you did that.
Yes, because this
right
pre-1970.
Right, exactly.
Post Ricky Skaggs.
Yeah.
and or post Sam Bush.
Oh yeah.
But Sam did both too.
Yeah, I do. Sam did.
I feel like the modern players tend to go.
Yeah.
The old timers would have been.
Yeah.
So, but somewhere in the middle lies the truth, and it just depends on the song.
Yeah, I think
it depends on the song.
It depends on the song. Yeah.
And sometimes you come up with something that has nothing to do, or as Bill Monroe said, it ain't no part of nothing. One of the funniest jokes I heard on stage with Keel was like, we were playing somewhere to like a real trad bluegrass audience, what we call the chairs.
Yeah, I do.
With the people that sit down in front of the stage and fall asleep and watching you and whatnot. And at one point Larry's like, someone came up to me and said, that ain't no bluegrass, and there was a pause, and he was like, well, I know. I know.
That's not even the answer I thought it was going to be. You know?
That's great.
Yeah, that's funny because that was not what I thought it was going to be. You know.
Oh man, well we definitely one of the things I enjoy about being like with the band name that we had, like Larry Keel Natural Bridge.
Right.
I think I like to see myself as a bridge between the old time and the new and something that's brand new. And there's this guy Ernie Evans that bought a lot of those chair festivals.
Sure. Yeah.
And he looks at us with Songs from the Road Band as being one of those bridge bands.
Right.
And
You
it's
kinda
great.
are.
We showed up the very first one, and we brought our own sound guy, and we're all plugged in while everyone else is playing over.
Oh yeah.
And we hadn't even struck our first note, and people were like, "Turn it down!" And I was like,
Yeah.
It was like, but by the end of it, they loved it.
But you are part of that generation that was playing Newgrass to the old school and on festivals too, not just the occasional go to.
But also we were the ones that like had the schooling of the old school
True.
in front of like literally in front of bands like Yonder Mountain String Band and Green Sky.
True,
And whatnot.
yeah,
And they looked at us as like almost like the Roots, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kinda funny, yeah.
But at the same time, that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
So to this day, I like to carry that.
Yeah, yeah.
I can go in any direction. It just depends on the band I got.
Right. Yeah.
But and with Songs from the Road Band, with us, it is not just the albums that we put out with the shorter versions of the songs
Right.
designed to put on the radio, but
Right.
we also we'll go ahead and play live, and we'll do these same songs, and sometimes they'll last 5 or 6 minutes
Yeah.
long,
I mean, yeah.
at
Yeah.
times. You know,
Well, you have the players that can do that too. You know.
oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You're not. You got guys that can pretty much play it out as long as it needs to go. You know, and not be boring with it. You know. I mean, it's the old Allman adage. You know, they play a long time on a song, but it's because they can. You know.
That's right.
You know,
Oh man.
you know, and it's the same thing with you guys. You know, I mean, you can do that and not make it a boring thing. That's the thing.
Oh god, it's fun. If I hear James getting ready to like take off and he doesn't know where he's going to stop, and I could tell that, or Gabe's going to take a banjo break and he's got something sort of worked up, but it's pretty long-winded or something like that, I'll just dig in and like just try to keep that rhythm interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's and sometimes we could play off each other and play color chords around it,
Right.
and
Yeah.
like that are slightly out from
Sure.
what the arrangement would call
Right.
for, and that's fun.
Oh, it is fun.
And so it's like, hey, go ahead, just keep going. And so,
Oh, yeah.
there are other times in the show I'm like,
Well, yeah,
I'll stop it and I'll be like,
let's cut this short. Yeah.
I just want a little shorter.
Let's turn it around here. Yeah.
Right. But that's my point. Is I think we play differently live than we record.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I think that becomes part of the surprise and when people come to see us.
True.
And we've never really recorded in Songs from the Road Band like songs that were like super long, maybe one or two. And on that, and the exception was on that traveling show record where there was a song called Just Let Go, and that was Andy Thorne, who's now in Leftover
Yeah.
Sam, and Bobby Britt, who's the
Who's it?
Wear and Town Mountain,
Yeah.
and John Stickley. Those three grew up together in Chapel Hill when they were kids, and then also Andrew Marlin sang on that album, who's with Mandolin or the Watt.
Whatever it is now. Yeah. What? Yeah.
And we really came together. I mean, with the exception of this new one that just came out, Pay Your Dues.
Yeah.
That actually will be out. We're officially releasing when we go to Merle Fest.
Oh, that's good. Then that's a good time to do it. Yeah.
And but we have the copies in our hand, and I listened back to it, and I was thinking, man, this is a pretty good record. But my favorite one for years has been that Traveling Show one.
That's a good. I mean, that is good. That is good.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, that's
the songs that were on there, the way we came together.
What is your favorite song? Your favorite song with Songstress and Road Band?
That's a good question. The favorite originally, you mean?
Yeah.
I still love Traveling Show.
That's a good one too.
I still love Traveling Show. I really love playing that new one, that Where the Road Goes, that we
that's good.
came up with.
Yeah.
And we wrote this one called Someday When. Well, Charles wrote this one called Someday When. That's going to be on this new coming record. That's really good. That's got a little bit of the vibe of the band, but like
that's cool.
We get to do some crazy singing in it.
No, that's good.
And I don't know, man. There's so many.
There's
songs.
There's one that you guys did that I think Charles wrote with Jonathan Byrd.
Yeah.
And that's a good song.
Traveling Show. Well, Traveling Show was not with Jonathan Byrd.
No.
That was
no.
That was with actually the late Don Humphreys.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. But the ones with Jonathan Byrd.
I can't think of the
Lesson
name.
I Can't Unlearn.
Yeah. That might be it. Yeah.
That was. No.
No, it's not that one
that's
either.
Not it because
No.
that was written with Sean Camp.
Yep.
One of the Sean Camp ones I love doing is Hillbilly Wedding Night.
Oh yeah, that's
I love
good. That's
doing
good.
that one.
Yeah.
I love doing that one.
Sean is a really talented guy.
But I'm trying to think, what were the Jonathan Byrd ones?
It is a song about. It's got something about Charles's other profession. It's got something in it about fishing along the way.
It's not the Traveling Show one, is it? Like fished in the Russian San Juan and the Fire.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think.
Okay, well, I always thought he wrote that one with Don Humphreys.
He may have.
Maybe he did write that one with Jonathan Byrd. I'm gonna have to look that up. It was one or the other, and both of them are legendary North Carolina songwriters.
They are.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, real.
I mean, Jonathan is actually just kind of quit touring. You know, just does his stuff. You know.
Well, think of the wealth of people that we have access to.
North Carolina's a great place for musicians.
That's right, man.
Hey,
Jonathan Byrd, if he's accessible, I always think about, Jack Lawrence being around.
Yeah.
Love playing with Jack.
Oh, Jack's wonderful. Jack is just, yeah.
Of course, I guess after this last weekend, those McMurray boys will be around a little more for a while.
Well, I hope to get to play with them a little more. Brian and I played together several times last year, but I'd like to. Steve and I always talking about doing a blues thing.
Oh, cool!
Yeah,
Man.
we'll see. He said something about 2023. This was the year we were going to play the blues, but we'll see.
Okay then.
Yeah,
All right.
so
Well, I'd love to.
they
do
got
that.
the time, So.
I can play some shuffles on that kid.
Oh, yeah. I hear you.
You know who else I love playing with, and I do not see enough in this area, and is the bass player with Dirty Grass Soul is Lance Watson.
Oh, Lance! Oh man, Lance is a great guy.
Lance is awesome.
He is.
He's such a solid human being.
He is, and somewhat of a mandolin player.
Yeah. I mean, we love playing. Pick some mandolins.
I mean,
we can. It's been so long now, though.
Well, they stay kind of busy too, in a whole different circuit too.
Well, sure, and it's on that circuit, on the country music circuit. Not that I'm name dropping here, but I have in the whole dang interview. But
it's okay.
They
That's
finally
what's
got to meet my buddies from West Virginia, the Davison brothers.
Oh yeah.
And man, Tell you what, those Davison boys have done a lot.
They have.
For when I was with Keel, we broke down. Well, we had van issues and couldn't get home, so they put us up for a few nights up there in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And it was never the same after that.
No.
And like for years, we'll just occasionally get to sit in and play with these guys, and I was so psyched when they met Kevin Dedman and Lance, and I was really fired up about that. Because they're salt of the earth people too, and I was, just I'm glad to see those two bands have gotten together.
That's good. Yeah, that is good. Yep. Yeah. So it's Kevin and them got a good band. They got a good thing going on. They're nice. Kevin and his brother are both very nice guys.
That's right.
Too nice sometimes, I think. It's the music business.
Well, they're still out there doing it.
They are still out there doing it, and they're great. I like what they do. You do know everybody, don't you?
No, I don't. No. There's still plenty of people I want to meet.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Is there anybody that you have wanted to play with that you hadn't?
Well, I've played 1 or 2 times with Jeff Sipin. I wish I could do that more.
Well, playing with Jeff, I'd love to do that too.
Just recently connected with Matt Mundy.
Oh yeah, that's cool too.
Like accidentally over the internet, and I'm very thankful for that because maybe at some point I get to play with someone like that.
That would be good too. Yeah.
That would be amazing. He's playing more of a Monroe style now. And that's great. But like at the same time, when he was doing that stuff in the 90s, nobody was doing anything.
No.
Wasn't even close to what he was doing. So it's like, so he's an interesting cat. I'd love to trade a couple of mandolin ideas with,
I'd love to have him on the podcast.
Oh, man,
that'd be good.
See what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
It'd be fun to have him on. Yeah.
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 And
Jeff was on.
Plenty of people I don't.
Jeff was on the show. He was an interesting guy too.
Right.
And it'd be hard to being a drummer. You realize how great Jeff is. Man. I mean,
it's like there are certain jams I'll show up to. There's certain places I'll show up to, and I'd be like, I can play kit. No, you stick to the mandolin. Why don't you check out what I'm learning on fiddle? Nah, why don't you stick to the mandolin? So many times. I was like, all right, well, fine. I'll stick to the mandolin.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of that way, too. It's like, no, saying, you don't play fiddle enough anymore. No, man, you're the bass player or, just play harmonica. You can play guitar, but no, man, we ain't letting you fiddle because you don't fiddle enough anymore,
That's right. You do mess with the fiddle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the thing is with the fiddle.
You talk about Tommy Gerald.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I can play that stuff, but I don't have an opportunity to do that very often.
Yonder comes a rabbit, skipping through the sand. See that rabbit, he don't mind if I'm in my pen, or if I'm in my pen.
That's it. Exactly. That's good stuff. I mean, that's still near and dear to my heart,
That's so cool that you got to hang out.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things in my life. I mean, it's one of the things that
How cool was that?
It was cool.
And I was talking about Bill and Nancy Slides. They were part of that.
Yeah.
And James Leva, I suppose, used to hang out.
James was there a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and just numerous people used to talk about Brad Leftwich and just the numerous people in the 70s and early 80s that got to sit there while he was getting a little bit drunk and waking up or not going to sleep and making y'all like sweet pancakes.
Oh yeah. Plus there was always he always had somebody with him that I don't think anybody knew who they were. Just some guy from town, some guy that would be there playing with him, and he would just be great. And it was like, who's this guy?
Like Chester McMillan or
something like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be like, yeah. And it's like, God, this guy's great, and then you won't see him again. It's like next time you went there, it's like, that's a whole different crowd,
Man, that's so cool.
It was cool.
See, I missed all that. I said my first Galax was 1996.
Oh yeah.
I missed the Tommy Gerald years, but
this was
talking to you or like hanging out with my buddies Bill and Nancy, or the couple times I've hung out with James Leva too. It's just like, okay, these are the people that literally were sitting down with the guy. And,
it was cool.
Sucking on, taking in these songs.
Oh man, the cool part of it is, what is really weird about that is the bowing patterns. That's the crazy bowing patterns. It's the whole rhythmic thing of it, really.
Oh, yeah.
More so than the notes,
Always, and that's indicative of the music of that area.
It is. I mean, it's
it's a flat footing.
It is
music. So it's like, as opposed to Western Carolina where the beat is like,
right, exactly.
Which is a clogging thing.
Yeah, it's a clogging thing.
I mean, the thing over there would be like,
You need to put an educational
man.
about styles. You need a thing about styles, man, because you got them down.
Well, I love that style. It gets in my blood.
But you have a lot of, you understand the difference in the styles. Not a lot of people do. I mean, you did your chop thing, and earlier on, and people don't realize it, but people need to know that,
Well, I suppose I could.
I mean, you do it. You got no time in your life anyway, so why don't you add something else?
I wouldn't mind doing it, but I'm not here to pontificate for anybody.
There you go.
Like if people want to learn something, they want to hang out and pick something off of me, great. And if I get out there and I play live, I think I exemplify kind of what I do, anyways.
Yeah.
And as I said, the funny part is it depends who the heck's out.
Yeah.
Who the heck we're
playing with.
Who's playing? Yeah. Who the heck are you playing with? I mean, obviously, when I'm doing string band stuff with my rock band Mud T, there is a school. There's the bass player Warren Hawk is a rock and roll encyclopedia all the way back through the 50s.
Oh yeah.
60s and 70s, like including bands like Gentle Giant and Hector
yeah.
and all this crazy and Kensington Market and all those crazy old bands that were kind of underground.
They were kind of way underground, yeah.
Yeah, so we got this guy at school, and I turned him on to Newgrass Survival, and he's been studying that lately. And then we got Toby, who was in the Cordovas, but who played fingerstyle blues, and then studied old time fiddle, going to Galax and Mount Airy, and so he'll do that, and then he'll bust out rhythm and a few flat picking parts, like kind of dock style, along with that. And so then he got me, and then so when we get together, we're covering Who covers me and my brother borrowed money from mother. We knew what we had to do.
That's cool.
Went downstairs past the barber and gymnasium and got our arms tattooed. And so I'm doing that in that band.
Right.
But but I'm not necessarily I might do that with some other people, but
that's
probably not.
That's pretty cool. I mean, really, that's really cool. I think you also played some with another one of my old buddies, Roger Patchett, too. Hey.
Oh, man. Oh, playing with Roger.
Roger.
I have not hung out with Roger or Fudd this year, and it's bumming me out. I love playing with those guys. And there's another person I sing well with. Is you know, Scott McKinney.
Yeah,
you know,
Bud. Yeah.
Bud, and I love singing with him. What's up, Bud?
Fudd kind of flies under the radar.
Well, yeah.
You know?
But he had a thing going years ago a few times, and of course, Roger Paget played with the Syndicate Boys and had that band Tater for a while, and
he's a fine musician.
He's a great.
Yeah, he is.
He's a great.
He is. I know his son also, Rush.
Yeah, Rush. Yeah.
Rush is trying to get back in the business, the music business, and I hope he does. You know, he's looking for someone to play with.
Man, he had an electric mandolin for sale, and it went. And I was like, "Hold that for me!" It went to Darren.
Darren got it. Darren got it. You talk about too many filthy instruments. Darren's got them. You know.
Well, good. I know where to find him.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff is just.
I'm right down to 2 mandolins now, and 1 guitar and 1 drum kit. And
There you go.
And a piano.
What kind of drum kit we have these days?
Ooh, I got a 1967 set of club dates in blue sparkle.
Oh.
And I'm playing in my rock band with it, and it's a jazz kit, so I could take it's a 20. It's a size 20 bass drum, so it's good and punchy. I could play anything on that kit.
Yeah, that's good.
I could play anything on that kit. I mean,
it's not a huge kit either. That's the really cool part about it.
It's tiny, and when the rock band comes, I put a double bass pedal on it.
That's hilarious.
And it works. It totally works. And that's arguably my drum kit is about as nice as it can.
It is.
I just don't ever hardly get to use it. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But man, I'll tell you what, it's ready.
I think it's funny to be sitting here with a pretty much straight up bluegrasser talking about a double kick. You know,
hey, come on,
bass drum. You know.
See, I went to high school between 1988 and 1992 in Charlotte, North Carolina. You better dang better dang believe I had garage bands that played everything from funk to punk to metal to like I mean even kids that liked electronica to people that like to pick.
Yeah.
You know, I mean it was like and of course, you know, when I graduated and went to college, I'll give you an example. This is 1992 going into 93. I'd spend Monday or Tuesday finding people going to a rave.
Yeah.
I would spend Wednesday and Thursday having hard rock band practice. Like I'm talking and it was even Southern fried.
Oh.
Like rock and roll. Friday, the other people would show up and they'd play Grateful Dead covers.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, and a few of their own songs.
Sure.
And Saturday, there's a little known band called Hootie and the Blowfish that showed up the very first weekend I showed. So in other words, a national act or touring act going and play in the clubs would show up and play on a Saturday, and then more often on a Sunday, at least once a month. And the very first day I showed up in Boone, Doc Watson's playing there.
Yeah.
You know, or Grisman or Sam, or Bela Fleck or Mark O'Connor or you name it. I mean, these people were, especially Doc.
Yeah.
You know, and man, I was supposed to have been going to college.
Yeah. You're just getting an education. It's not the same thing, you know. I mean, yeah.
Heck of an education.
Yeah.
You know, that's just an example of that time period.
Yeah.
Was like there was so much going on.
When I lived in Boone, I was caretaker at a camp. That's where I'd stay. I'd look after the animals after the camp shut down, and there's like 12 houses on it, and
oh, cool.
And it was cool. And
where was this?
This was over near Seven Devils in that area over there.
Up near Fosco.
Yeah, near Fosco. Fosco's actually where it was, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'd let all my buddies stay in the houses, the cabins out there.
Yeah.
And so we'd be out there, and we would come out there with the intentions of playing bluegrass. And then next thing you know, we had Marshall Stacks going, and we'd be playing Allman Brothers and stuff. And it was, what happened to the bluegrass? And he said, we'll wait till the power goes out, because the power went out all the time. Then we'll play bluegrass, you know.
Well, that's awesome. That's, right. But that's the point. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of music out there, and just go where your heart tells you.
Yeah, I think
if you're having a good time, then everyone else will.
Well, I think you can glean anything from any style, and make you a better player.
Sure, and really, it all informs who you've become.
It does, really.
And what you do. And I could sit there and listen to that Tommy Jarrell stuff for hours.
Oh man,
hours. And if I'm at a fiddler's convention, it's so hard not to sit in an old time jam.
Yeah.
Bill and Nancy Slies or those or somebody like Joe Thrift or and just not sit there for so long.
Oh, also another thing I learned from them is the same song will have like 7 names.
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah. It's like, do you know the song? Well, I don't know. And then they start playing. Yeah, but that's not the name of it. That's the other good thing about it. It's like, no, that's not the name of that song. Well, yeah,
right.
it is here.
Well, the people that really sit there and make that a big part of their life will study the sounds of different regions too.
Yeah,
I think
they
that's
do.
pretty amazing that here in 2021 that people are still
Into something like
that. That's amazing.
It will take an example. People are still into that. Another thing, you grew up in Charlotte. This is something that when I say this, you'll realize it now. A North Carolina music art form that is dying a hard death because no young people are doing it, and no one is doing it, is beach music.
Beach music, right?
It's dying. It'll be gone in the next few years. All the bands that do it are playing pop music,
Yeah, right. And when I was in high school, one of the touring bands that had yet to get really big was Greg Humphreys' band, Defense.
Yeah.
And what separated them from sounding like the other bands to me that were trying to sound like REM?
Yeah, they were.
At that time period.
Yeah.
What to me was what he was bringing in. I almost felt like it was a soul music.
It kind of was, yeah.
And I'm his melodies, his chord choices. It's like and of course later on he has that band Hobex.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not beach music, but I still feel like that's a Carolina
sound. It kind of is a Carolina
sound.
sound.
Borrowed from that. I wouldn't know unless I asked him, but.
But it's.
But you're right. I mean, the beach music.
It's dying. I mean, people. It's a dying art, which, I mean, I'll have to admit that I have played it in my life. I don't. It's not something that I'm keen on telling you that I have played, but I have played it over the years. I mean, I was a young kid during the time when that was a big deal,
Right, but it could revive and turn into something slightly different.
It could, but I don't think it's going to.
And it doesn't just have to be Carolina.
No,
girls,
exactly.
Best in the world,
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to just be that, Sweet Carolina.
Oh yeah, I mean, first bands I was playing with, one of the guys had his whole music career as a Beau Schranz. He had the Fabulous Shakers. That's all he ever did, and so it's a dying art though. They're dying off. Acoustic music still lives. It's great.
Thankful for that.
Yeah, really.
Whoa.
New strings.
What's that?
New strings.
That's right.
Do something.
Sure. Okay. cinnamon rolls, eyes of the prettiest brown. He's darling of my heart, prettiest little girl in town. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Well, when I was a little boy, I went in a parlor knife. Now I am an older man, I want myself a wife. Well, Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Well, Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan.
That's a great version of that.
Oh, thank you.
You know, that is I like that version.
John Kilby Snow.
Really.
I saw a video of a Newport folk festival thing, and he was playing that on an auto harp, just like that.
I mean, that's a great version.
That's
That's not. Yeah, I played that song 100 different ways, but that is not. That is, you know, there again. But that's the beautiful thing about music. You know.
So that's like, well, I just figured, if I'm gonna play something on the Mandolin, that was a solo piece.
That's great. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I don't always find solo pieces to play on the Mandolin.
Yeah, I mean that is a little more challenging than with the guitar.
Well, it's fun still.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad it still is. I mean, since you do it a lot. You know.
That was just the first one I thought of off the top of my head.
That's great.
And,
What else we need to know?
let's see. Once again, the Songs from the Road Band album will be out. Pay your dues. We'll have that out with us when we get to play Merlefest this year. And this year we get to play it as Songs from the Road Band and not just as Jim Lauderdale and Friends.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But you know, hey, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And always thankful to play with Jim when we get a chance to. And man, he's a good friend.
Jim
Jim is a good person and a good friend.
I had a manager, a guy named Greg Hills, one time. Greg used to be at WNCW, and actually Greg started E-Town. He moved from WNCW to Boulder to start E-Town, and Greg and Jim were roommates at North Carolina School of the Arts.
School of the Arts,
Yeah, and Greg was a fun manager. I mean, Greg and he he had a lot of good Jim Lauderdale stories and all. So he is, Plus, I met the Waybacks used to come and stay at his house. When they were in the area, they'd stay in Rutherfordton at Greg's house, and Greg was a fun guy. But I can't think of Jim Lauderdale without thinking about Greg, rest his soul.
I hear you on that. So your buddy Your buddy Greg is.
He's passed. Yeah. He was one of the very first DJs at WNCW, and then he left to do that. And then he managed a number of bands. And
of course, let's give them WNCW props.
Yeah.
I mean, what a wonderful thing to have in this area.
Oh,
That we don't just have like some corporate radio dictating what you're gonna hear. We got people calling in your songs, you know.
and you know, like
and
how many radio stations can you hear your stuff on? I hear it a lot. I mean, I hear.
Well, now at Songs in the River, we're very fortunate to be on XM radio.
Yeah, see, that helps too now.
But first place we take the recording, WNCW.
Yeah.
Why? Because I mean they're the first ones even. I mean, I even said that when I was playing with Keel. I mean,
Sure.
there's X amount of public radio stations playing the music, and we're still basically operating out of the back of a van or on a good weekend a bus. Or
Yeah.
But the point is you know, that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, it's just awesome to have WNC.
It really is. I mean, it's been here a long time. It's supported all the music of the region. You know, it's great to have them. Good guys there too. I like pretty much the whole staff.
Oh yeah, and of course I miss Dennis Jones.
Yeah, Dennis. You know, I'm sure you played in Studio B with Dennis doing the stuff as well as I have. You know, here's a walking music encyclopedia too.
Yup. Man, can I do one more?
Yeah, you can do
All
another.
Let's see. Let's do Hillbilly Wedding Night.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm burning up with fever. Well, I see you running in your white gingham dress. Hear the fiddle and the banjo ringing. Oh, moonshine's gone to my head. It's a hillbilly wedding night. We're about to jump the broom. You're old enough to fall in love, but I'm wise enough to say I do. Old man Fuzzy's on the run, flight full of dancing in the flower bed. Grandma standing at the foot of the stairs, hooting and hollering with her hands on her hips. It's a hillbilly wedding night. We're about to jump the broom. You're old enough to fall in love, but I'm wise enough to say I do. Papa said she's a pretty little thing, pretty as a daffodil and blue. Mama says she's bound to wear my ring. Ain't hard to wait for the honeymoon. It's a hillbilly wedding night. I'm about to jump the broom. You're old enough to fall in love, but I'm wise enough to say I do. Well, you're old enough to fall in love, but I'm wise enough to say I do.
Mark Schimick, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, y'all.
I tell you what, this is one of the best parts of my job. Is I get to sit across from these guys, and it is really cool. I mean, I'm sitting here 10 feet from Mark, you know, and he's just playing his heart out. You need to get out and support Mark and his projects, particularly Songs for the Road Band. That's his major deal.
Sir.
And they're a fine band. If you don't know them, look them up. You know, they're everywhere these days. I mean, it's pretty easy to find. It's not a hard search. It's not like we're putting you on an obscure band. They're on all the social media. They may even be on TikTok. I don't know.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
But everything else, you can find them, and they'll come somewhere near you. Get out and see them live. They're better. Take it from me. If you like their records, you'll like them even better live.
Well, I will concur with that statement. I mean, we will surprise you live. That is. We are here to bring the part. Like anyone else, we're here to have a good time, and that's why we show up. And so you can come see us. We're gonna bring the party to you.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself.
That's it. That is what's up.
I appreciate you coming and doing this.
Man, I really appreciate you having me, Sandy.
That's great, man. It's always a pleasure. One of my favorite artists.
And I'm very thankful that you gave me a call to get
All right.
over here and do this.
Good enough.
Well, see you later.
See you later. Yep.